Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and this is...
Autumn Garibay.
And this is...
Logan Garibay.
And today we are going to talk about President Barack Obama endorsing Joe Biden. Let's talk about this. I got lots to say, but I'm going to let you guys talk first. What are your thoughts, Autumn?
Yeah, so I think Obama endorsing Biden, I think is... a good thing, kind of predictable. The important thing here is the timing of it. Why didn't he do this before? Because it's a bit late in the race to be doing it now, but there's also the question if he truly did think that Biden would be a good president, why didn't he do that in, say, 2016? I think that we'll want to unpack that, but Logan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I have about the same comment as her. Definitely, it's a mixed thing if Obama's
Endorsing
Biden was good or bad, mainly because of the timing. We don't really know if it was that way or if Obama just might have slipped up or something like that, but I don't think Obama would slip up like that, so it's highly suspicious.
I'll jump in. Worse than useless, right? So that's a term, man. It's definitely a thing when you're like, oh, this is worthless. It worse than useless. This endorsement by President Obama is not an endorsement of Joe Biden. It is an indictment of Joe Biden. All right. So, one, we talk a lot about politics. I pay attention, and I will tell you right now, Americans hate politics. Young people you have to drag them to the voting booths. You have to and most people don't want to talk about politics. They don't want to talk about any of it. And this is part of the reason why. So one, we're talking about President Obama. So you got to be careful when you talk about President Obama because he is one of our greatest presidents of all time. So, I am Native American. I'm from the Mattaponi tribe. These two have Mattaponi blood in them as well. I'm also Basque, which is shepherds who live in Spain. So, I am technically a minority. Now, I also realize, tell me if I'm using this wrong, but I kind of have passing privilege. People think I'm Italian. People think I'm,
I've gotten Jewish. Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's like, yeah. So, I am a minority, but I don't get treated like a minority. So that, and I've heard that term before, passing privilege. I think it's used for other things, but, I kind of feel like I understand a little bit there, what they're saying. But my heart goes out for President Obama. He's one of my favorite humans on the planet. He's super special because, as a minority, before he came along, there was never a minority president. Never. Not once. Never. Okay? It was just 43 era presidents. Two attributes. If you didn't have them, you didn't get to be president. President Obama shattered one of those attributes, broke it in half, and threw the parts into the wind, scattered them like rain, just like confetti. And that's huge. We can never forget that. President Obama is special and wonderful and awesome. I'm proud to have voted for him twice. I think that there's a chance I might have been an abolitionist if I had been born in that time because I was willing to do that. But I think it's important, right? However, people hate politics so I'm precedencing all this because I'm about to roll hard on President Obama. This is why people hate politics, okay? You say one thing with your words, but your actions speak louder. President Obama's words, Joe Biden's a great guy. President Obama's actions, Joe Biden is worse than every other person who ran against him. Okay, President Obama, his words were blah, blah, blah. Biden's great. Oh, Biden's great. Biden's great. If Biden's great, why did President Obama wait until every single other option was gone? Right? His timing speaks the truth, not his words. President Obama worked with Joe Biden for 8 years, okay? And when Joe Biden needed his help to defeat 25 opponents, and Bernie came at him hard, daggers out, tooth claw ready, right? Bernie had him in real trouble for about 6 weeks, okay? And Obama sat back and did nothing. He did not say one kind word for Joe Biden to say, this is the guy that should be our president. And the reason why is Obama knows Biden is not the guy who should be our president. And the truth is in Obama's timing, not in his words. Obama said, please, his actions were like, please, anyone else, right? And he did not do one thing to help Biden until Biden was the presumptive nominee and Obama's endorsement could do literally nothing, okay? It will not convince anyone who wasn't going to vote for Biden anyway to get in there, because the truth of it is the timing of it. Obama does not want Biden to be president, right? He's like, this is a blue no matter who, and it's really an endorsement of the Democrat Party, and it's barely that. And what's even worse is Obama's timing speaks louder than his timing, and his actions speak louder than his word. And this is why people are disgusted with politics, because politicians do this. They pretend that their words matter. Every word of Obama's endorsement meant nothing. The timing is what meant something. Thoughts?
Yeah, so I feel like part of my job here is to bring a little nuance. To Obama's, I don't know if it's credit. Maybe this is a bad thing. I would like to pose this as a question to you too. But I think it's clear that President Obama has been less politically active since he's been in office. We see him on vacation and not. So, is it possible that his almost delay to endorse Biden wasn't out of any political spite, but literally just enjoying life until we all started caring about Biden, and someone knocked at his door to actually ask, like, hey, do you endorse Biden? Do you think it's possible that there was a different reasoning for his delay?
Yeah, I have some comments about that. I do think that might be a possibility, but I do think there is some intention on this. Just the timing is really, really suspicious. Like, until everyone was out, like, couldn't you just do this from the start? Like,
yeah.
And I'm not calling Obama lazy or whatever, but I don't think it takes that much effort to endorse someone. Yeah.
So that's the thing. He didn't forget. He chose. You know what I mean? And I think that's my thought. But I understand what you're saying. And Obama is not lazy. He's a hard worker, and he's super smart. So if he's choosing now,
yeah,
it ain't because he's lazy, and it ain't because he's dumb. He's wicked smart and a wicked hard worker.
Yeah. I just want to add, I think I wasn't that clear in the past comments I made. I do think this was intentional. I do think this is not just him messing up or something.
That also raises the question, say Sanders was our presumptive nominee, say Yang was our presumptive. Do you think that whoever was the last pin standing would have gotten President Obama's endorsement?
Personally, for me, I think if Sanders was the primary candidate, I don't think he would get an endorsement. But I don't really know that much stuff about endorsement, so yeah.
All right, I'll say it. I think if Kamala Harris or Cory Booker had gotten a single delegate, the moment they got a single delegate, Obama would have endorsed them immediately, either one of them.
For being minorities?
Or
Or is there another reason you pointed out those two?
They are both minorities. That's a wild coincidence. So here's my take on that. If he had chosen, if that was the reason in his heart, would he have been that wrong? We've only had one so far. And in some ways, it's interesting because we are evangelical Christians and we believe in magic. Like, we believe that the natural law is not the law. We believe in supernatural things, right? And I believe in magic, right? And I'm telling you, I think Obama got a little magic in him, because we just watched a whole bunch of minorities absolutely get wrecked, just tore to shreds and destroyed by the most worthless, ridiculously weak, sad sack, nothing candidate I have ever seen. The fact that Joe Biden could beat Kamala Harris, could beat Andrew Yang, could beat Cory Booker, could beat, you just go on, every single actual candidate who believed in something and had some grit and had some nobility and had some, I'm not saying, actually Joe Biden is intelligent, right? But he's common man intelligent, right? He's just intelligent, right? Andrew Yang is a 20 intelligence. He's like a, +5 D&D intelligence. He was a genius. He was thinking about problems America would have 10 years from now. And Joe Biden walks in with nothing. No ideas. No passion. Doesn't want the job. Just nothing. Nothing. And destroys these real candidates who bring real charisma, real intelligence, real passion, real motivation, real momentum, and wrecks them, right? So if Obama did say, oh, there's a reason for me to immediately endorse Cory Booker, immediately endorse a Kamala Harris, would he be that wrong? I don't think so.
I have another question for you guys. I still think there might be another reason behind Obama's endorsement and the timing of it. We all remember Biden's promise for a female VP. Might this be to get Michelle on the short list? Do you think that those two have any relation?
What do you think?
Personally, I don't think that would happen. I think I don't really know what she's doing right now, but I don't think being president was her main goal.
Yeah.
And she didn't even do anything before this, I think. So I don't think that would be. It could happen.
Now
90% of the things we say could happen, in my opinion. 90% of them, I say, they probably won't.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you bring out a good point, right? And one of the things that we talk about on this channel is we talk about the long shots, and the reason why is I don't care about incumbent presidents who were drug back to do a job, right? I care about the long shots. I care about the fun stuff. I care about the things that should happen, not the things that will happen. So that is the focus of our channel. You brought up two really good points that I want to touch on. So one of the things is you're 100% right. Michelle Obama has never said, I want to be president. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter in the least. And the reason why is when it comes to the blue power base, they don't want people who want the job. They don't want people who are best fit for the job. They want people they think can win. And here's where we went wrong. The blue power base thinks Joe Biden can win. The reality is what they forgot is it's not certain that Joe Biden can actually make it mentally and physically to July. That, and when they chose him, to their credit, Bernie October 2019 was not a piece of evidence on the ground. That fact wasn't available yet. But we know what happens to 80-year-old candidates, or what happens to people who will be 80-year-old presidents. That scientific experiment has been run. The results are back, right? And it ain't good. So my take is, one, it doesn't matter if Michelle Obama wants to be president. There is a consuming momentum that comes from the blue power base, and 100 people will meet in a room and say, hey, this has to happen for us to win. And once that has been decided by the blue power base, the gears turn, right? And I don't think anybody in the world can stop those gears from turning. We saw how fast it was. Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, the blue power base was, and everybody, Tulsi, nobody could withstand the force of it. Once the blue power base turns the gear, then there's going to be a tsunami of whatever needs to happen for this to happen. It's going to happen. And we don't have an answer for that yet. Nobody's figured out how to stop that. We might, and nobody's going to be able to stop it for 2020. We might be able to stop that for 2024. So that's one of the issues. The other thing that you talked about was what is Obama sliding back, and he hasn't been that political. There is a tradition of presidents, once they leave the presidency, Their job is to shut up and stop talking. It is a long-held tradition. And the best presidents keep their mouths shut once they're done. Because the current president needs to do that. I think Obama would have done that if President Trump wasn't president. But President Trump is president, and that means that the presidency, this is going to blow everybody's mind. Nobody's going to like to hear this. I think Donald Trump's done a pretty darn good job running the country. His real problem is he has utterly destroyed the role of presidency. Clinton took a sledgehammer to it, cracked every surface on the job. And now Donald Trump is hollowing it out. Donald Trump is not ruining America. He is ruining the role of U.S. president. That is why he is so dangerous and why he's misunderstood. People think he's screwing up the country. What he's doing has nothing to do with now. It has to do with 40 years from now and 400 years from now. He is screwing up the role of presidency in a way that may not be fixable. And that's the real problem. Very, very frustrating. And honestly, of course, I am a little vexed and wound up. You can tell that. And the reason why is I love President Obama. I voted for him twice, but I do not like seeing him fully validate Americans' opinion that politicians' actions matter and none of their words matter. When Obama endorsed Biden, you could turn the sound off because not a word of it contained any truth, in my opinion. The truth was in the timing. Obama did not endorse Obama. He indicted him by saying, I will only endorse you after every single option is off the table. And it's just frustrating to see an American hero open his mouth and nothing he says matters. Do you think there's any long-term fix to this? Do you think we'll move past this where politicians will return to truth and honesty? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think this could be fixed. But this is kind of a part of politics. Talking and saying things that eventually won't become true is a major part of politics, I think, nowadays. And I don't really know. I feel like you could stop this, but I just think this is like in the nature of government and politics, in my opinion.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, we've actually talked about this before on this channel, the importance of nonverbal communication, and I think that most politicians, including Barack Obama, do realize the importance of it. I think the next step is lining up your nonverbal communication with your verbal communication, and I do think that that would be something. Yeah. That's good. That would be something Andrew Yang would bring to the presidency. I don't foresee Biden doing that, and that's another reason it's disappointing to see Obama endorsing him at this time. Yeah.
So, and we cut it off there, and the reason why is ain't nobody gonna say anything more smart than that probably this month. That was, you're 100% right. I encourage every single one of you, line up your nonverbal communication with your verbal communication. Don't do a yesterday Obama. Do an 8 years ago Obama, and even a 5 year ago Obama, where he was an American hero, rather than somebody who was not aligning his nonverbals with his verbal communication. All that's our opinion. Thank you for letting us share it with you. Please have a wonderful millennium. Please consider liking and subscribing.